Hashtag Kangaroos podcast. Here is your host, Dean Basic.
G'day everyone and welcome back to the Hashtag Kangaroos podcast. I'm Dean Vasic. You can find me on X at Hashtag Kangas, Instagram Hashtag Kangaroos podcast. It's Sunday morning, which means it's time for another edition of the Sunday Morning Hangover Show, where we take a step back after the siren and break down everything we saw from North Melbourne's latest game. On today's episode, I'll be running through my 5 likes and 5 dislikes from the performance, something I want to try. I'm always looking to reinvent myself, I guess, as a podcast person. We'll see how that goes. But what did North get right? What still needs plenty of work? And what are the biggest talking points coming out of the game? I'll be going through all your responses from X and Instagram to see what the North Melbourne faithful thought of the game. Did you see it the same way I did? Were there players who impressed you, selection decisions you question, or moments that changed the course of the match? One of the best parts of this podcast is hearing the views of supporters. There's always plenty of passion, plenty of debate, and plenty of different opinions. So grab your coffee, settle in. I've got my coffee right here, and let's work our way through another Sunday morning hangover show. So I'll try and do these as often as I can. I do get up early, and I did stop there for a number of years, but I feel like emotions are settled the day after a game. It just depends when the game is. If it's on a Sunday, I can't do a Monday morning hangover show. I've got work to do, and I've got other commitments. But if I get the opportunity, especially for Saturday games, Friday games, next week is Thursday, so I might do a Saturday morning hangover show instead of Friday, because I probably will have to work the Friday. But anyways, we'll see how we go. This is the Hashtag Kangaroos podcast, so let's get into it. So like number 1 for me personally, Colby McKercher back to halfback. This one was an easy choice for me. I've been calling for Colby McKercher to play behind a ball, and I thought we saw exactly why against Hawthorn. Yes, we all know he's stronger on his left side, and early in the game there were a couple turnovers while he was finding his rhythm. But once he settled, you could see what he brings to his side. He's still got no right side. He still seems to struggle with that, but he'll get there. He still needs plenty of work. He's got class though. He's got speed, and most importantly, when he's behind the ball, he's got the whole ground in front of him. That's when he's at his most damaging, because he can receive the handball, accelerate into space, and use his run to open the game up. One moment that really stood out for me, was a fantastic piece of leadership from Harry Sheezel. Sheezel marked the ball about 40 metres from goal. Most players in the situation would back themselves to go back and have the shot. Instead, he heard McKercher calling for the ball behind him, ground in front of him. He knew exactly who it was, trusted him completely, and gave the handball. That's great leadership. It's one thing for McKercher to call for it, but it's another thing entirely for Sheezel to recognise the moment and say, no, this is your opportunity. Credit to Colby as well. He worked hard to get in the right position, demanded the football, and to finish the play with a terrific goal. From that point on, I felt like he just grew into the game. He finished with 21 disposals, 10 disposals in the second quarter when the game was going against us as well, particularly early in that second quarter. 490 metres gained, 7 scoring involvements and a goal. Exactly the sort of performance we've been waiting to see. For me, the decision is simple. Let's leave him at halfback. That's where he looks most comfortable. That's where he can use his biggest weapons. And that's where I think he gives North Melbourne the most drive and creativity. Sometimes the best move is the simplest one. I think we've found Colby's best position. Now let's stick with it. Like number 2, the pressure and tackling. This was another really pleasing aspect of North Melbourne's performance. The tackling effort was significantly better than what we saw the previous week. North laid 59 tackles, almost double the intensity we've been showing at stages recently, and you could feel a difference around the contest. The pressure was much stronger. I actually think Hawthorn got sucked into the way North wanted to play early in the game. They were happy to play an open, uncontested style, and North took advantage of that. The Roos dictated the tempo, won their share of territory, and for large parts of the match gave themselves every opportunity to stay in the contest. That's exactly what you want to see. Rather than reacting to the opposition, North was setting the terms early and we got ourselves up to a 17-point lead at quarter time. The pressure around the ball was much better. The players were committing to the contest, and that gave the team a chance to compete right until the end. I also think some of the midfield changes played a big role in the improvement, and I'll get to those a little later because I thought they made a noticeable difference. But purely on pressure intent, this was a big step in the right direction. In North could bring that level of tackling contest every single week, they'll give themselves a chance against anyone. So that's a big tick for me. Like number 3, Nick Larkey's response. I thought Nick Larkey was very good yesterday. Great response from the captain. After his first set shot missed the target badly, I must admit I was thinking, here we go again. But to his credit, he didn't let it affect him. He reset, got back to work and produced one of his better games of the season. He finished with 2 goals, both of which went straight through the middle. But what impressed me most was the way he brought his teammates into the game. Larkey recorded 3 goal assists, and to be honest, it should have been 4. Bailey Scott missed one from virtually a metre out, so Nick could easily have had another assist next to his name. He also finished with 9 scoring moments, showing he just wasn't focused on kicking goals himself. He was creating opportunities for others as well. It was a really selfless performance from the skipper. After a few quieter weeks, mainly because of his goal kicking, this was exactly the sort of response you want from your key forward. He competed hard, looked dangerous every time the ball came his way, and played with far more confidence. For me, it was a terrific bounce-back game from North Melbourne spearhead, and hopefully it's something he can build on over the final few weeks of the season. So good on you, Nick Larkey. Like number 4, Luke Davies-Uniacke's 150th game. It was a really good bounce-back performance from LDU in his 150th game. After a quieter outing last week, this was much more like Luke Davies-Uniacke we've come to expect. Now, he still has some work to do when opposition teams send a tagger to him. That's an area of his game that can continue to improve, because sides are going to keep trying to take him out of matches. But despite that intention, I thought he had a strong impact. He finished with 27 disposals, 633 metres gained, the most on the ground, 7 clearances, 7 tackles and 47 pressure acts. Those numbers tell the story. He wasn't just winning plenty of the footy. He was driving North Melbourne forward, competing hard around stoppages, and importantly, bringing the defensive style of his game with those 7 tackles. That's a complete midfield performance you want to see. On such an important milestone, it was great to see LDU respond after last week and lead from the front. When he's at his best, North Melbourne is a far better football team. Congratulations to LDU on reaching 150 games, and hopefully this performance is the start of a strong finish to the season. Like number 5 and the last one, the midfield bounce back. To round out my 5 likes, it was great to see the midfield respond after what was a really disappointing performance the week before. Last week they were beat too easily around the contest, but against Hawthorn they came with a much better attitude and intensity. Tristan Sherry set the tone in the ruck, giving North first use and competing hard all day. Luke Davies-Uniacke bounced back in his 150th game. Jai Simpkin brought his usual pressure and leadership, and Luke Parker added that experience and toughness around the ball. The midfield mix did look balanced. Now, this could be part of one of the dislikes as well, but I'll get to that more soon. But I'll talk about one of the likes out of the game. There was just more accountability, more physicality, and far better pressure around the contest. The tackles were up, the pressure was up, and it felt like North was once again dictating terms rather than reacting to the opposition. That's the standard. So they're my 5 likes. Now I'm going to go to dislikes, the 5 dislikes. So dislike number 1, the defensive system. This has been a recurring theme all season, and unfortunately it hasn't changed. For me, North Melbourne's defensive system needs a serious review at the end of the year. I've said it for weeks now, but I think the heavy reliance on man and back shoulder defending is becoming outdated in the modern game. When you watch the best teams in the competition, they don't defend their direct opponent. They defend space. They squeeze the corridor. They press up the ground. They force opposition wide and make every possession difficult. I think we tried to use the corridor a fair bit last night. You could sort of tell when we did get it wide, people were looking in board, but there just wasn't any options. And when I compare that to North Melbourne, the difference is night and day. Our defenders often find themselves chasing opponents rather than controlling the space in front of the ball. That style is incredibly demanding physically because you're constantly reacting instead of dictating. Against Hawthorn, there were simply too many occasions where they were able to move the ball through the corridor with very little resistance. That was the biggest concern for me. The Hawks didn't make us pay often enough. If you're being honest, they missed a number of opportunities they would normally take. The expected score suggested Hawthorn should have won by 28 points, which tells you they left a little bit out there. That's why I think it is more than just an issue of personnel. It's about the system. North Melbourne is talented defenders. Charlie Coleman, Colby McKercher back there. Riley Hardman, Jackson Archer, we get him back there. So I don't think, and others, can all be part of a good backline. If might need one or two players there that come in the off season, but I think the way they're being asked to defend needs to evolve. Modern football is about team defence, protecting dangerous space, closing the corridor, and making the opposition earn every metre. For me, that's the next step this coaching group has to take if they do have it in it. I remember Adam Simpson. I was listening to him on AFL 360, I believe, a few weeks ago, and he went through Collingwood's defensive system, and he implemented something similar. He was talking to John Longmire, who did something similar at Sydney, and they came up with a 30-50-70 defensive system, which means when the opposition's got a ball, you got three tiers. It's like one line 30 metres away from the ball, another line 20 metres, so 50 metres, and you got the three or four 70 metres away. So you're pressing up, and you're hoping that ball doesn't get over the back to the. You've only got about three players protecting from 70 metres out, but you're trying to press up from 50 metres onwards because that's where the dangerous space is. So if they chip another 15 metres, you drop back 30 metres, 50, 70, you keep going up. Obviously, you can only go so far, and eventually you have to press up a little bit more if they are going to you and taking the game on a little bit. But that's the wall that you want to set up, and our defensive system is just. Yeah, it's very simple. It's not complicated, and I just don't think that's the way forward. And hopefully, look, this is something I was thinking about last night. Now, if Alistair Clarkson wants to re-sign at the end of the year, maybe you go to him and say, all right, he's on $1.5 million next year. You say to him, okay, you have to take a pay cut for next year. We're happy to give you 3 years at, let's say, $2.5 million. So next year you get $1 million, so it's a $500,000 pay cut, and then $750,000 or whatever for the next 2 years after that. Then we're able to bring in someone like an Adam Simpson or a John Longmire to be senior assistant coach. He needs someone like that. I don't know if he's getting much help behind him. I'm not too sure if Michael Barlow, Jed Adcock, Xavier Clark, and those individuals have that capability to implement a defensive system like that. So I think he needs help with the senior assistant coach. You sort of see the Swans have got Simon Goodwin, and the good teams do have that. I think Essendon should do that as well. If they get James Hird, they probably need a senior assistant like a Mark McVeigh right behind him, and that's what something. And it's very important to get the right people behind you. You can sort of tell, even looking in the box, Alistair Clarkson is going with Todd Viney almost as a senior assistant coach. And he does enough, Todd Viney, and I'm not too sure if they're both a little bit outdated, so it's something they need to work on. Anyways, I'll go to dislike number 2, the inside 50 differential. The second thing that stood out to me was the inside 50 count. North Melbourne finished well behind, with Hawthorn recording 61 inside 50s to North's 40, and that's a massive gap. When you're giving the opposition 20 plus more entries, you're kind of asking for trouble. You're not going to win many games doing that. Part of that comes down to Hawthorn's defensive pressure. They made it difficult for North to move the ball cleanly, force turnovers, and continually run it in dangerous areas. But I also think some of it comes back to our team balance. At the moment, we're still a little top-heavy. We don't quite have enough speed and overlap to consistently run and gun against the better teams. Too often we move the ball cautiously, and by the time we get forward, the opposition is already set up behind the ball. So I'd love to see Riley Hardiman. I know everyone would love to see Riley Hardiman and Cooper Harvey back in the team. Hardiman has shown he can find space. He's got genuine pace. and his penetrating left foot can launch attacks from half back. Those are qualities North needs more of. Cooper Harvey, I think he gives you something different. He has a little bit of class in the back half as well. His one-on-one defending has improved a lot, especially defending in transition. So I'm not too sure why he got dropped. I know he's not a big fan of a lot of people, but he has a lot of creativity in that back half. I'd still like to see him there. I thought Josh Goater was really good last night. That's another step in the right direction for him. The main thing is he's getting continuity now, and you can see the potential he does have. He got a number of intercepts last night, I was about to say, but yesterday, and he was able to give some metres gained. I will. Do I have his stats right here? I don't at the moment, so I'm sorry about that. Actually, I do have it right here, so I'll just go through Josh Goater at the moment. I'm not too sure exactly. So he had 21 possessions, 291 metres gained, 5 intercepts. So not a bad game for Josh Goater. He's building. So yeah, I don't look, and I'm going to defend Griffin Logie. I didn't think he did too bad against Nick Watson yesterday. Now, Nick Watson kicked, I think, 4 of his 5 goals. He couldn't have done anything about it. I think 2 came from the centre square, so he's not defending there. One was holding the ball against McKercher. There wasn't much he could have done there. McKercher, not the lack of right side really cost him there. And there was one that Cameron Zurhaar kicked straight to him from defensive square where Zurhaar was just trying to get rid of the ball quickly and just kicked it straight to Nick Watson, who kicked another goal. So, and full credit to Griffin Logie, he can defend. He's pretty good at when the ball goes in the air. Like he will, he can intercept. He'll kill the contest. But the problem is his accountability, one-on-one defending, and this is why I don't like the one-on-one defending, because you've got Griffin Logie who can't defend one-on-one. You probably got Cameron Zurhaar who can't defend one-on-one. So implement a zonal pressing defense that plays to the strengths of these players. So, but if you're gonna, we need a bit of quality behind that ball, and you can go a bit smaller. And you can play Hardiman as your third tall, especially yesterday. We could have done that quite well. So we'll see going forward. Anyways, dislike. Going back to inside 50 numbers, highlighted that North still has work to do in that area. So that's something I didn't like. So dislike number 3, and this is probably contradicting myself from earlier. The midfield balance and develop in the future. This one might be a little controversial. Like you said, I'm contradicting myself a lot from one of my likes where I thought we competed a lot better in the contest. But while I thought the midfield performance was much better this week, I can't be convinced that this is the best balance going long term. I understand why the coaching staff lean on experience of Jai Simpkin and Luke Parker. They're experienced leaders. They understand the system, and their players, coaches naturally trust in big moments. But I also think there has to be balance between trying to win today and building for tomorrow, if that makes sense. We've got to keep an eye on for next year in the future. For me, Finno Sullivan and Harry Sheasel are the future of the North Melbourne midfield. Yet they both attended just 9 CBAs yesterday, while Simpkin attended 22 and Luke Parker 23. I'd like to see younger players given more responsibility in those moments and a chance to bounce back from last week. I said on Thursday's previous show that I would have liked to see Foss go head-to-head with John Newcombe. John Newcombe was best on ground too, by the way, so that would have been a good matchup for him. The only way they're going to become elite match-winning midfielders is by learning against the best week after week, like a John Newcombe. I also think it's part of a broader trend this season. North has only debuted 3 players this year, while Hawthorn has blooded 8. Taylor Goad, Lockie Doveston. Taylor Goad is probably lucky to debut this year, to be honest with you. I don't think his form was outstanding. And Lockie Doveston had 4 touches, had 5 tackles yesterday in the VFL. Hardly inspiring. So, he's been a little underwhelming, especially after the pre-season. And the form he showed there, he's probably lost a little bit of confidence. But, there's nothing wrong with backing experienced players, getting back to my point, but I don't want it to become at the expense of developing the next generation. They have also been players who have continued to hold their spot despite, inconsistent form, while others have had to wait for opportunities. To me, that can sometimes look like a club focusing more on the short term than the long term. Now, I completely understand the coaches are under pressure to win games. When that pressure builds, especially with Clarko, it's natural to lean towards experienced players because they're more familiar with the system and generally more predictable in their roles. But North Melbourne's future is built around players like Finn O'Sullivan, Harry Chisholm in midfield for at least the next 3 or 4 years. Those are the players I want attending more CBAs, taking on more responsibility and learning what it takes to lead this midfield over the next decade. So the future for me has to start now and it has to keep going for the next 3 weeks. So probably contradicting myself a little bit there. Dislike number 4, Nick Watson. This one's a tough one for North Melbourne supporters, myself included. Nick Watson was the difference in the game. Every time he got involved, he looked dangerous. He brought energy, class, and the ability to create something out of nothing. Those are the types of players that can change the momentum of a match, and he certainly did that. From a North Melbourne perspective, it's hard not to think about what might have been. The club passed on Watson in the draft, and performances like this are always going to spark the discussion among supporters. I'm not going to dwell on it. The draft is done, and North has to back in the players it selected. But there's no denying that on this occasion, Nick Watson had a big influence on the result. Unfortunately for North supporters, it feels like one, let's come back to Hornets, like many other things. Dislike number 5, the cost of turnovers. To finish off, it's a turnovers that really hurt North Melbourne. Some of that undoubtedly comes down to Hawthorn's defensive system. They press the ground exceptionally well, force you into mistakes in the transition of the ball as well as anyone in the competition. But North simply can't absorb that pressure. The stat tells the story is the scores from defensive half turnovers. Hawthorn capitalised, kind of, kicking 7 goals, 50 from North Melbourne's defensive half turnovers, while the Kangaroos managed just 1-3-9 from Hawthorn. So that's a 41 point difference. For me, that's the game in a nutshell. It also highlights something I've spoken about a lot this season. North still relies on too few players to generate drive from the back half, I should say. When the opposition takes away those key ball users or applies enough pressure, the ball movement breaks down and turnovers become incredibly costly. The better teams make you pay, and Hawthorn certainly did. If North is going to improve, it has to find more players who can win the ball behind the contest, make good decisions under pressure, and help launch attacks. So we talked about some of the personnel there, because against quality sides, you simply can't afford to lose a turnover battle by that sort of margin. In the end, that 41-point differential was probably the biggest factor in deciding the result. So that's it. So hopefully you people agree or disagree with that, but come into the chat. I'd love hearing your responses. So I'm going to go to X now and get some of your responses. So we will go to, I'm just opening up now. Peter at Ruboy_18. Polish. It's all about players understanding their ability. Realise that your arena is the big time and don't play unders. We have the players and the talent. Just stick to the game plan. P.S. Clarko is a coach. Well, he's a coach at the moment. It feels like the club is listening too much to the noise at the moment, and it feels like Clarko is listening too much to the noise at the moment as well in what the media is saying. And yeah, it's a bit hard, but at the moment, Clarko is the coach. Schimmelboner at Paul Canana, one much better effort and result from what I was expecting today. Like normal, we were run over, hoping we can snag 1+ more win before the season's end. It's probably next best opportunity is probably next week against the Bulldogs. They've got a few players injured. Hopefully Norton isn't back because their forward line is decimated at the moment. So we'll see. Anyways, I'll get to that later next week. Patrick Elwood, big fan of Patrick's work. Classic 2026 game. Lots of promise, lots to like, but we lack the polish to either get the score on the board or keep composed under pressure. Fair point there, Patrick. Dino at Dean K88. If we had won games we should have won by now, this is the kind of result that makes you think we can take it and learn for wild card. But alas, same old feeling. It's all moot. Yeah, fair point there, Dino. Rousseau at Rousseau 118 outscored in the last again. Like I said, maybe it's got to do something to do with their defensive system. A lot more taxing playing man on man than playing his own defence and defending space. Batesy at Mitch 23 Bates. Lots of moments in that first period of the last where the Hawks just wanted it far more than us. Winnable game again at three-quarter time that we don't win. I think we all knew at the last change we were going to lose. I was never confident, even going into the last, even though we were 1 point up. I would have liked that third quarter to go for about 5 more minutes because I think we could have kicked a couple more goals. We had a bit of momentum. We kicked 2 in the last couple minutes of the quarter, so it would have been nice for that third quarter to go 5 more minutes. And you never know after that. Kanga Boy at Poper LB71, we just couldn't overpower them in the last quarter overall. A good effort. Jive was very good. Just needed someone to stop Watson when he was damaging. When he was damaging was the difference. If we play like that and put in every quarter, we could surprise with a win in the last 3 games. Thanks for coming in, Kanga Boy. Paul at Paul D. Cal. Effort there, but Hawks running at 70-80%. I thought what was hurting Hawthorn is their efficiency going forward sometimes. And they were a bit fumbly early. They got sucked into our game, so full credit to our boys for getting them sucked into our game. So, but look, the Hawks weren't at their best. Put it this way. But thanks for coming in the chat there, Jared at Jared TV _ another moral victory. What are we? The effing Poms, English cricket team. Yeah, they're a shambles. But thanks for coming in. Bianca Doughty at BD _09 was a great effort. Our skills let us down at real crucial times. Yeah, especially in that defensive half, our skills probably did let us down at important times. So thanks for coming in there, Bianca. Chips at Chips22509. Weak as usual, but congrats to Clarkson on their standing selections and non-selections Thursday night. They really made a difference. With a big laughing emoji, yeah. The selection has been bizarre all year, so thanks for coming in, Chips. James Duke, the Dukester, at James Duke 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I wonder what would have happened had we played a small defender on Watson. Umpiring ruined us once again. Like I said, I think 4 of the 5 goals, there wasn't much Griffin Lowe could have done with Watson. A couple of them came from the midfield. McKercher turned one over, unfortunately. And Zerha did a stupid kick as well. So I think 4 of the 5 goals, it was out of his control. I didn't think he was too bad. But that's just me, and you've got every right to, have your opinion there, the Dukester. Herky at Herky Mark. Jack Foss, Chom in the last equals 3 goals. 21 less inside 50s. So scoreboard perhaps flattered a little. Happy being so competitive against top 4 side. Still too many passengers playing 3 rucks or 4 tall forwards, costing us games every week, and yet nothing changes. Yeah, Will Dawson, at least he had 47% game time. I was disappointed one of his play, Will Dawson. He was going head-to-head at Marbio Chol, and he was in his back 50, didn't get a body on him. He let Marbio just run and jump at the ball without getting it in a contest. Just watched it. You can't do that. That's not good enough. I know he recently re-signed for 2 years, but he's got to be better than that. And yeah, if you're going to play at this level and you're going to be a ruckman, I watched Tim English. I think it was Friday night against Fremantle. Jeez, he worked so hard. He was helping out the defence so much, trying to push forward, trying to make Luke Jackson accountable. And Will Dawson, if you're going to be a ruckman forward, which is what they've got you playing at the moment, you have to put a body on. You have to help out those defenders. You can't just leave it to Chomp. He took an uncontested mark 30 metres out. That's not good enough. And that's got to be reviewed. And you got to tell him, look, if you want to take the next step, you've got to put your body on a line, not rely on others. You've got to be accountable for your direct opponent. And Marbio Chol was in the ruck at that time. So for him to just get a run and jump at that was not good enough. So I'm going to be, just because he's a kid, I know he'll learn, but doesn't mean he doesn't escape criticism at the same time. It's constructive criticism. If you are listening, will. So make sure you're better with that. Easy for me to say in the cheap seats over here. Rude Hilda at Hilda Rude. Just the same thoughts as every other week. What have been your thoughts for every other week? I don't know, Rude. So maybe you're just a bit disappointed. But yeah, that's it for X. I did see something come in. Maybe no. That's it for X. I'll go to Instagram. There's only one person, and that's the Vitstar 96 Vito Manillo. Oh, Manlio. Sounds Italian. The Italian stallion Vitstar. Oh, hi Dean. Love your passion in the show, mate. Thank you. But a loss is a loss. The 4 weeks before this game was the test, and we failed miserably again. The club is not ruthless. It does not hate to lose. It's not feared because it does not hurt. I thought things would change under Clarko, but they haven't. Look, at least yesterday, after the game, the players, especially Griffith Logan, didn't just sit there and laugh and chat with the opposition about the loss. And he's coming through a lot of controversy. And I think the club have said something and probably just said, look, just be mindful that there is cameras and there are supporters watching who are, shareholders for the club. And they don't, I mentioned this on Thursday, and does it mean enough to some of these players? Maybe it didn't, but at least yesterday, after the game, they showed that it did mean enough. They just shook hands, they were respectful. LDU spoke to a few players after the game, that's fine. I've got no problem with players having relationships on the field, but don't just sit there and laugh and chat to them and have a good time almost straight after a loss. It's not a good look on the optics. So, yeah, at least that was a little bit better. But yeah, I don't know with Clarko. He needs help. I don't think he's getting much help. I'm still happy for him to go into next year, but he needs a senior assistant, someone that can help him with the defensive system. This strategy coach, he hasn't done much. Hopefully he's got something for him in the off-season if we don't make changes in that regard. But yeah, at the moment, I haven't seen enough from him to make a valid opinion. But you can't go into next year, if he does stay, with a defensive system based like this. It's not going to hold up, and yeah, you're going to get exposed week after week again, and you're going to run out of legs week after week again. So that's it for all your responses. VFL, I'll just go quickly through that. Couple of decent performances. Ollie Griffin, another 3 goals. Robert Hansen, 26 touches. Might be done as an AFL footballer. Tom Powell, good to get him back out. I don't know if he did his groin again, which he seems to do. 24 possessions, 7 clearances. Riley Hardman, very good from the back half, 24 possessions. Zach Fisher on the wing was okay. Luke Urquhart, 70 disposals, 6 clearances. I'm just going through AFL listed players. Ruben Stevens showing a bit, 16 possessions. I did watch a little bit of the replay this morning. Matt Whitlock, scoreless. So, yeah, I've had my opinion about him and how he seemed to get an opportunity. Coincidentally, as soon as David King mentioned that you're probably overpaid to get this guy into the football club, and then all of a sudden we decided to play for tall forwards. Taylor Goad, quiet. Braden George kicked 1 goal, 5 disposals, no tackles. Lockie Doveston, 4 possessions, kicked a goal, and 5 tackles. So Hawks have got some good players in the VFL. I like that Sam Butler, good small forward. Got a bit of experience as well. Max Ramsden, someone we've been shown a little bit of interest in, apparently. Played pretty well in the ruck for the Hawks yesterday. 20 hitouts, 4 clearances, kicked a goal. Matthew Hill's got a bit of pace as well. I think he kicked 3 goals, but Kelshi D, I don't know how he can't get a game. He kicked 2 goals, 4, but geez, he's a good player. He's a very, very good player. Far too good to be playing at that level, but they've got too many players. They've got so much depth, the Hawks. They were able to debut that Aiden Schubert yesterday, and he looked all right. He missed a few chances, but yeah, it just shows how they develop their players. Whereas I think we've had 2 players debut this year, and they're both in the VFL at the moment. Charlie Spargo has come in, and been a new recruit, but he's played over 100 games of AFL football. So, yeah, I'm not too sure if we've got any players that could come back in next week. I didn't mind Zach Bench. He got a front and square goal. I think it was first quarter, so I don't mind giving him the next couple of weeks to see if he's good enough. Other than that, Riley Hardiman should come in, but I don't think they're obsessed with playing Griffin Lighters. But just surely they're going to be at the match committee, and this is what the conversation I'll be having, and I'll be saying, all right, defensive half turnovers, how do we fix that? It obviously got exposed, cost us probably the game in the end. That was a big difference. Is it worth having Griffin Logue in the team, or we bring in Riley Hardiman? Could you have played Riley Hardiman deep in the square on Nick Watson when he went forward? Could you have maybe pushed Zerha forward? I'm not sure, and dropped, and maybe not put in Will Dawson. Not nothing against Will Dawson, but these are the conversations I hope they're having. And Cooper Harvey, should we have picked him? So it's interesting to see. So maybe Riley Hardiman, Cooper Harvey's match day emergency, so he didn't play yesterday. Ollie Griffin, could he debut? It'd be nice to get him that opportunity. It'd be nice. I know Darling, he's probably our most targeted inside forward 50. I thought Cooper Trembath was outstanding yesterday as well. I didn't mention him, but Jack Darling, it would be nice just to give him a rest. Just get this Griffin kid in, give him an opportunity. Got a bit of classic Griffin, something about him. So we've got to have one eye on the future. Look, we're not going to play finals. I know Clarkson's got a job on the line here because the media pressure is relentless at the moment on him, and we all listen to the noise like they do. They might say they don't focus on the noise, but they clearly do. So we'll have to wait and see the team selection, but it wouldn't surprise me if they just go with what they know. So anyways, that's it from me. That'll do for me for another edition of the Sunday Morning Hangover Show. As always, basically, thank you to everyone who's sending their thoughts on X and the Italian Stadium veto on Instagram. Whether you agreed with my 5 likes and 5 dislikes, or had a completely different view, it doesn't matter. That's what makes this community so great. I love reading your opinions, and it's great to have those conversations every week. Sometimes there's just too many responses, and I can't keep up with them. I try not to go on my phone too much. I can be quite toxic sometimes, so it's just not good for your brain health either. Hopefully North Melbourne can take some positives out of the Hawthorn game, but there's still plenty to work on if this side is going to take the next step. The effort was there, but now it's about turning competitive performances into 4-quarter performances and ultimately into wins. I'll be back. I might be back tomorrow. I'm not sure if I'm going to do another review, get someone on. I'll see what happens, but I'll definitely be back later in a week with another episode of Hashtag Kangaroos podcast as we preview the next challenge against the Bulldogs. It'll have to be maybe Wednesday night. I'm not too sure, but we'll see. I'll discuss the latest news from Martin Street, and of course, keep talking all things North Melbourne, everyone. If you've enjoyed today's show, don't forget to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, leave a rating and review, and share the podcast with your fellow Kangaroos supporters. Until next time, take care. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. My son's got a final today, so I'm just about to get him ready for that, and elimination final. So hopefully we can get that done, but we'll see how we go. Enjoy Sunday, everyone.